Well, hello everyone. I didn't expect that I'd have time this week to do a Q&A, a live stream, but here we are. I've had a no-show, so the student not turning up means I've got a quick moment to spend some time with you. I just want to quickly today talk about remembering to use our whole body, and then we're going to get to doing a Q&A. And as most of you know who join me here on the Q&As, make sure you type your question in. Osgray's already jumped in, and I can see him there on the questions. G'day, mate. So make sure that you type your questions in, and I'll do my best to answer a number of them. I have got very limited time today. In fact, we're only going to have another 20 minutes before my next student arrives, so we are cramming this in. But I did want to take a moment to spend just that little bit of time with you guys, and hopefully we can cover some good ground. So let's get into it.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
And I can see that I am Gavin Bot, not Gavin, has jumped in. You made it finally, mate. Good to see you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Dan, and I'm a contemporary singing voice specialist. And as I say in many of my videos, it's my job to help you realize the full potential of your singing voice. And one of the ways we realize that potential is to remember that we are a whole instrument. And so let me just quickly jump over here, and we'll spend a bit of time in front of this camera here. And so when we are practicing and workshopping our voice, especially here on YouTube, because a lot of the times when we're on YouTube, we spend a lot of our time sitting down and watching a screen, whether it be our mobile, a tablet, or a computer at home. And so consequently, when we're engaging in the instruction that you either engage with on my channel or on other singing channels, you're in a seated position. And so the challenge of that is you're sort of learning, but in a manner that we would not normally want to have you singing in. That's not to say that we never sing sitting down, but certainly most of the time I would want to see you singing when you're standing up, and certainly practicing when you're standing up, and learning to use your entire instrument. When we are not holistically engaged as singers, we become what I refer to as laryngeally focused. And it's not just me who refers to that. We'll often hear ENTs and speech therapists in particular refer to a person where all the work is being done here as laryngeally focused. And so it just means that the larynx is having to work overtime to actually create sound and to do the whole formation of tone, and certainly there is a lot of work done here. But all of you is your instrument, not just this. And the moment you forget sort of your shoulders down, you are almost certainly working way too hard. And so one of the ways we can get you involved is to think about your entire body. And so I'll get my students to purposefully bend through exercises. So for example, if you were working with one of my exercises on the CD, let's say we were doing the third exercise, which is just a simple triad, I would have my students going, ya, ya, ya. And so what I'm doing is I'm getting the student to bend through the activity. Now, of course, we never, you never see anyone, on a stage doing this. Yeah, just like if you were in a boxing watching a boxing ring match, you would never see the two iconic exercises that I certainly think of when I think of a boxer in training is a skipping rope. It's the old Rocky activity, and the speed ball. You never see either of those activities, the speed ball or a skipping rope or running up and down stairs. You never see those activities done in a boxing ring. What those activities are about, wax on, wax off. They're developing muscle memory, and that's exactly what we're learning to do by using our entire body. We're teaching our body to be fully involved. And so when you're on stage and you've got a high note coming up, you're not just going to be trying to get it there. You're actually going to know how to support and how to engage these lower support structures, the thighs, buttocks, pelvic floor, lower mid-abs, the obliques, the lumbar. Big support structures that are there to create really fantastic foundation for the entire instrument. And when you don't, when you remove that foundation, this has to work harder. When it's working harder, it's going to fatigue quicker. And so it's all about efficiency. And efficiency when you sing, you know, one song, not a big deal. But if you're having to do multiple songs, multiple sets in a night, multiple nights a week, then efficiency is like a premium thing that we need to consider. And so I want you to always, you know, take the opportunity. If you're watching my videos on YouTube, yeah, you might even see me presenting a lot of them when I'm sitting down. But I want you, if you're ever engaging with my exercises, always try to do them standing up. Again, that doesn't mean that we only ever sing when we're standing up, because there are times when we do that really lovely unplugged sort of thing and we're sitting on a chair. But there are even ways of sitting on a chair that allow you to access that lower support structure. So I did want to take a quick moment to remind you that you are an entire instrument. Let me come back over and I will now sit down. And yeah, I just wanted to take a quick moment to remind you that we are a whole instrument, and that I want you to always be taking advantage of that holistic approach. I hope that's a great reminder. And so let's now quickly go over to some questions. And I've actually set up a screen. I'm hoping that this allows us to be able to see some of the questions that we've got going on here. And I can see that... let's see, Kev Tran, g'day mate, good to see you. Bartek's back. It's good to see a lot of you engaging on a regular basis with these online sessions that we're doing together, and it certainly makes it worthwhile for me to do it. What also makes it worthwhile is if we've got some questions. So here, let's see. I watched a vocalist named So Yang. She is one of the best. She belting F5 to C6. She has one of the best techniques. That's cool. Very good. Belting up into C sharp 6. I would dare say that if she's doing that, she's doing it in a manner, hopefully she's doing it in a manner, I am Gavin Bott. I hope she's doing it in a manner that is balanced and it's probably had to learn to back off the pressure and not push into those top notes. So that would be good. Rebecca, good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Is it still morning, Beck? It's not. Oh, good reminder, Dr. Dan. Sorry, that was my dyslexia cutting in there. It's not morning at all. In fact, here in Australia, it's about 20 to 1 in the afternoon. And just to let you know, in Brisbane, it's a miserable day. We've had about 2 months of absolutely no rain, and so finally we have got some great good bit of rain, but as a result it makes, you know, things a little bit miserable as far as the weather goes. So make sure you let me know where you're from. Let us know what the weather's like in your side of the country, your side of the world, and also take a quick moment to leave your question. So g'day Andrea Fontana, good to see you again. So have we got any questions here? I'm learning, I am Gavin Bott. I'm learning mixed. I bridge my chest and head, yes, but I don't know where to do the mixed voice, as in where is the transition point? Yeah, let's clarify a couple of things around this whole mixed voice point. I very much come at this mixed voice thing from the idea that mixed voice is not actually a registration as such. We have 4 registers: pulse, lower, upper, and falsetto for guys, flute for women. But mix is not a 5th register, if you like. Mix is simply the way you balance between your lower register into your upper register. And so if you are singing an there's a mix. It's sort of, it is in the middle of my range, but it's where I'm managing the voice in such a way as it's balanced. If you think about a tug of war and you've got two teams, and in our voice we've got two teams of muscles. We've got the shortener muscles, the thyroarytenoid muscle, and we've got our lengthener muscles, the muscles that elongate the vocal folds. And they're the muscles that cause the lengthening of the vocal folds. And at any given moment, they are in a tug of war. But it's not a tug of war where either one is always wanting to win. They work with each other but against each other. And when they do that, what they're doing is they're allowing us to make a decision on the tonal registration, the color of our voice. The thing that we all want to do is be in charge of how we use our voice. There is nothing worse than an artist being restricted. If we think of a fine artist, let's just say we restricted that fine artist to only using 5 colors, you know, out of the millions of colors that are available to them. And we say you can only use one paintbrush. And so they can't use a fine paintbrush, they can't use a thick one, they have to use just one particular thickness. We are limiting that artist to what they can and can't do. And so what we're trying to do as singers is we're trying to add color to our palette. We're trying to become more versatile in the type of brush heads that we're able to use. And we never want to find ourselves restricted by only being able to sing in a lower register or only being able to sing in our upper register. We want to be able to make decisions to build quality around the expression, ultimately to serve the narrative. And if you don't have those, if you haven't developed that capacity to be able to service the narrative, then the narrative is going to suffer. You might, sound really robust in your lower register, shortener dominance all the time, but that may not be what the song needs. It might need that lighter coloring. So always remember, mixed voice, it's not a specific register. It's a balancing, it's a decision by you, the singer. You're making a choice to balance your registers in a particular way. Let's go back to some other questions here. What's the quickest way to clear excess phlegm? By Osgray. One of the quickest ways is to steam. Get yourself a steamer, and you can buy one of those on my website. If you go to djarts.com.au, go to the online store, go looking for a personal inhaler. I sell the Basistos brand, and basically all you want to do, in fact, if you give me a quick moment, have a watch, I'll just bring it over. This is what it looks like. And so you can see that that's a steamer, and basically we just steam it. You fill it half with boiling water, half with hot, and what we're doing there is just basically breathing on the steam. And I'll come back over here. We're breathing on the steam to help loosen the heat, and the moisture helps to loosen the steam up. Also, you've got to be up with your hydration. You've got to make sure that you're well hydrated. And there is actually a video on my website, sorry, on the channel that says, I think the thumbnail says "Clear Away the Gunk." It's a purpley thumbnail with a green title. Go looking for it. It's actually got 7 tips to clearing away phlegm. So I hope that's helpful. Okay, we are running out of time today. As I said, I've jumped in to quickly do this for you guys. I hope you're finding it helpful. Make sure you hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying these quick Q&As. I hope they're helpful to you. I do try to answer as many of your questions as I possibly can. Andrea, it's 3:43 in the morning. Yeah, but why are you? That is crazy. Why are you watching at that? Don't you sleep? Dearie me. Jacqueline, good to see you from Mississippi. Thanks for jumping in. Kakai from Norway, awesome. How can we use our performance actions? This is from Rebecca Axe. How can we use our performance actions to also help support the larynx? You mentioned practice movements, but what they do about on the day. So, great question, Beck. So what we've got to make sure of is that we are using our entire instrument, yeah, when we perform. So when you're, if you've got a microphone, if I jump over here, so I've got a microphone and I'm performing and I'm doing all my things, making sure I'm keeping an eye on the audience and I'm gauging. Notice that what I'm doing with I'll step back so you can see, what position am I in? My knees are soft and buoyant. It's not rigid, yeah? The moment you're rigid, yeah, you actually lose access to that support structure. Not only that, you lose access to the midriff, and so you no longer have the level of breath management that we want you to have. And so constantly being on the balls of the feet, keeping everything buoyant, and you're performing. Now there are going to be times when you want to have a mic stand, for example, and you've got the mic up, and so you're performing with a mic. But notice how in fact I've got that a little bit high. When I'm working with the mic, I've still got buoyant knees, yeah? And so I'm not hanging off the stand, but I'm keeping everything nice and free and agile. I'm not standing rigid like a toy soldier in front of the mic, where again, if I lock my knees, the moment your knees lock, you no longer have full access to the entire instrument, and it is going to place more wear and tear on the larynx because the larynx is going to have to work harder, keeping everything nice and agile and free. And so that's where we get that the practicality of it into what we're doing in our performance. And so just keeping that sense of nice, easygoing action, that's what you want to do. And the whole reason we're doing that, let me come back over here. Oh, it's been energetic. I'm running out of breath. The whole reason we want to do that is because the whole reason we want to do it in our practice is because we want our body to develop the habitual approach to physically, being activated and your legs being worked. In my lessons with my students here in the studio and online, for those of you who have never engaged with here before, I do teach online. For those students who I do work with personally, they find that there's a little bit of fitness to develop around their physicality to get the whole body going, yeah? But that fitness is required if you want to really sing long term. We've got time for one more question, and that's all we're going to be able to do today. Oh, Karen from Singwise, it's good to see you. Karen and I had a great chat yesterday, and it was so good to spend a good hour. We had such a great chat, and we're hoping to do some collaboration later in the year. So make sure you keep an eye out that. Hey, Karen, it's so good to see you. And I really, really enjoyed our conversation yet. For those of you who don't know, jump over and have a look at Karen's her channel. She has got such great stuff there. I've personally had a look at it. I think it's great. I want to endorse her. And she doesn't need my endorsement. She's fantastic. But for those of you who are regulars on my channel, guys, go and check out Karen over at Singwise. We sing from the same hymn sheet. We teach from the same pedagogical books. So I want to encourage you to go over and check her stuff out. One last question, then we must absolutely finish. I'm looking for a question here. What's going to be an easy question to answer quickly? You have the best t-shirts. My daughter Karen and my wife buy my t-shirts, and yes, thank you. I take a little bit of pride in my t-shirts. People in musicals sing notes perfectly. How do I do that? Well, anything. And this is the last question. I'm going to give it to you. Anything. The way we generally would work in looking for perfection is don't. Don't aim for perfection. Can I tell you that they did a big survey back in the 80s of the best session singers in New York and LA, and they had a look at, and this is before auto-tune, this is back in the days where, they would stand in a studio and they would sing to mic. These were great singers, and they did a survey of their hit to miss ratio. How many notes did they sing in tune and out of tune? And their hit to miss ratio, believe it or not, was for every 5 notes, they hit one note incorrectly. The best singers in the world in that time, contemporary singers, were only hitting 80% of their notes. I think you and I think we can just chill out and relax. Don't aim for perfect notes. If you are aiming for an impossibility at a physical level. Don't worry about singing perfect notes. Worry about communication. Worry about the narrative. When you put the narrative out in front, when you perform, then you can sing as many bum notes as you like. Yeah, because people will be being communicated with. That's what this singing is about. I say it all the time on my channel. Singing is not about perfect notes. Singing is about communication. Don't forget that. Do we want to develop better accuracy? Yes, we do. But is our aim perfection? No, it is not. And in fact, often when we aim for perfect notes, all we do is create tension because we're trying to, and tension is actually the number one enemy of accuracy when it comes to notes. So please make sure you continue to communicate first and develop your technique second. I mean, equally, we have to develop all of the above, but I think you get my point. That is all I have time for. I've got a student who is about to walk through that studio door. I do hope that this has been a positive time for you. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, jump across, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell icon. It notifies you for when I go live. And I can see there's so many of you on the channel now that are starting to come here regularly. It's so good to spend these moments with you. This week, before I finish, let me tell you very quickly. On Thursday, the video that I've got ready, slated to go. So for those of you who don't know, I have a non-live video that goes that gets posted every Thursday, Australian Eastern Standard Time at 5 a.m. This week's we're looking at reflux. I want you guys to make sure you have a look at it and share it. We're trying to spread the word and let people know that how significant reflux is for so many different singers. And even those singers that don't realize they have it. So I want you to make sure you watch it and let people know about it. And in that video, I've got live footage. An ENT that I work in team with has been good enough to share with me some anatomical footage of a singer with reflux. So we're looking at the inside of the throat. Make sure you take a moment, have a look, learn, and it may well trigger some things for you to be able to go, oh, maybe those symptoms are in keeping with my own experience. That may or may not be the case. Engage with the video, ask any questions in the comment sections. When you see it come live in a couple of days, I hope the rest of you I hope you have a great rest of the week, and thanks for tuning in. And for those of you who I don't know what I went to say, I'm going to finish off. My name is Dr. Dan. Sing well.